It's a special edition of our First NBC Bank video update. Lenny, Vangilder, Ken Trahan. We switch spots this time of year to talk high school football playoffs because this guy knows more about high school football than you know about anything. It is Thanksgiving week, Ken, and every coach in Louisiana will tell you this is the week they still want to be practicing. 56 of the 300 or so high schools in Louisiana still at it. We're down to the quarterfinals on the non-select side. We're down to the semifinals in the 4 select divisions. So let's start with Class 5A on the non-select side. We'll build our way up to the games that are the win and go to the Dome when we get to the end there. But let's start in 5A. You've got a good one as part of your original Prep Football Report Friday night. Trahan and John Ehret, local matchup, the 1 against the 9. Your thoughts on the 5A quarterfinals?
Well, it's a good matchup. Obviously, they played in Week 3, 21-7. Trahan a winner over John Ehret in a game that was very competitive, 7-7 in the third quarter. Ehret lost their best player in that game. Jamal Houston went down with a knee injury. And after that, the following week, Cohen Grenier went down for Trahan, their quarterback. But J.R. Blood stepped in and has played very well. Close game. Good matchup. Trahan got one of those fortuitous things a week ago. Sometimes you need fate, and the number 1 seed avoided a massive upset at Mandeville, and maybe that catapults them forward. On the other hand, Ehret's playing with confidence. They're talented defensively, and they run the football hard. If you want to beat Ehret, you've got to stand up to their running game because they're coming right at you. This is going to be a good matchup.
Looking forward to it. You'll get a chance to see it along with Rick Gailey from Trahan. The other game on the top half of the bracket, Landry Walker. They've got a great offense. Now they've got to make the trip up to Shreveport to take on Parkway. Like you said, they may not stop scoring until sometime Saturday in this one.
Well, they average over 90 points a game combined on the year, so that tells you something. And Justin Rogers at Parkway is a phenomenal quarterback, a junior being recruited by everybody. And, of course, Keaton Thompson is a Mississippi State commit at Landry Walker. I would argue that these are the 2 best quarterbacks in the state, and I'd put Alden Clark in there as well from Endicott. So these 2 teams will score forever. This is one of those where I picked Landry Walker to go to the Dome, so I'm going to go with the upset in that one, even though this one is another one that could go either way.
And as you look at the bottom of the bracket, Acadiana travels to Zachary, Santa Maud travels to West Monroe. Your thoughts on the bottom half?
Well, I picked West Monroe to go to the Dome, so I'm going with them there, and I like Acadiana in the upset against the defending state champion in Zachary.
Should be an interesting game there in Zachary. As you head to 4A, we continue perhaps on the collision course of Neville and Carr. Neville's got to make the trip to Karen Crow in the 1-9 matchup this week. Carr had to travel last week, didn't bother them going to Leesville, but now they will take on Benton on Friday night across the river.
And Karen Crow's good. They beat Acadiana this year. So that is not an easy game for Neville, especially having to travel, but I'm not picking against the Tigers. Warren Easton, great showing under Jerry Phillips in his first year. Lost a lot of players, changed coaches, and here they are in the quarters again. Tough trip to Minden, but they have a chance because this is a team that's played a tough schedule out of a tough league. And that same league, McDonough 35. Boy, they got a tough game at Plaquemine. Plaquemine is much better than its record. They played a brutal schedule, and this is a toss-up type of game. Could be an upset alert there. And then Benton and Endicott, enough said. Endicott.
There you go. We'll see how this all plays out. Very possibly you could see 3 New Orleans area teams in the semifinals, the way that could potentially shake out with three area teams playing in separate matchups. You look at Class 3A, the 2 area teams of note. Lutcher at home again this week to Marksville. Amite has to make the trip down I-10 to Iowa.
Iowa's really good, but Amite's super talented. I like the upset. I like Amite to win that game. On the other side of that lower bracket, you got Jennings at home against Kaplan, and that's a game that could go either way. Jennings at home is the 6th seed, and they have a live chance to win that one at Jerry Simmons Stadium. Lutcher at home against Marksville. I can't pick against the Bulldogs, even though this should be very competitive. The other matchup is a battle of unbeatens, a 1 and an 8 that are both unbeatens in Northwest and West Feliciana. But West Feliciana is on a mission. This is a team that's been close the last few years. They're going to win this game.
In Class 2A, the one team from our area still hanging in there is West St. John, but boy, they've got a tough test having to go north to take on Manny, the number 1 seed.
Yeah, Manny's really good, extremely well coached. Jess Curtis does a great job, and his team's outstanding. West St. John, Brandon Walters has done an outstanding job in his first year. Ignore the record. They played an extremely difficult schedule, and again, when you schedule tough and when you play in a tough league, you end up in the quarterfinals. And that's what happened to West St. John. They were one of my upset specials last week and came through, and they've got a tough road here. It's going to be very difficult to beat Manny. Sterlington at home against Kinder, really good matchup. Kinder's been to the Dome. They're really good, obviously a champion, and Sterlington has got that pedigree. Flip a coin. Sterlington's at home, maybe the edge. Rayville and St. Helena, there's a good matchup. Rayville took out the third seed Welsh last week. Very impressive win, but St. Helena is big and fast and a sleeper to get to the Dome in my book. But it's a tough trip for them. And then Faraday, Madison Prep.
So we head on to 1A. Obviously, the biggest team of local interest remains Kentwood, as they will entertain Arcadia in a 3-6 matchup. But your thoughts on the 1A bracket in the quarterfinals?
Well, I mean, Haynesville obviously is a prohibitive favorite on the top half. They've got Delhi Charter. They should have no problem, with all due respect. Oak Grove at home against Plain Dealing. I expect Oak Grove to win that one and set up a showdown of Haynesville, Oak Grove, two traditional powers. On the bottom half, Kentwood's at home against Arcadia. Long trip for Arcadia, who's a good football team, but I like the Kangaroos to emerge victorious again. Tough schedule. And then Varnado, Logansport. Varnado's a good football team. You know, they've scored a lot of points. They're dangerous offensively. They have a tough trip to make here, though, and it's going to be difficult to take out Logansport, who's at home and has a very good defense.
That's your quarterfinal matchups on the non-select side. Again, quarterfinals there. As you head to the select side, we go to the semifinals. Boy, we've got some dandies here. First of all, let's tell you that on SportsNOLA.com, Friday night, we've got a great one in Division II, which we'll break down in a moment. De La Salle, Parkview Baptist should be outstanding from Joe Yanni Stadium. Ken Berthelot, Wade Kaiser will have the call on that one. You can watch it live here Friday night at SportsNOLA.com. Let's start in Division I, though. You had a couple of upsets as the seeds go last week. Evangel going to St. Paul's and winning. Brother Martin, I'm maybe not surprised that they won at Catholic, but the fact that they won this game by 4 touchdowns, I think might have surprised some people. And they will both of those teams will have to travel again this week. Evangel will head to the Shrine on Airline to play John Curtis. Brother Martin has to make the trip back up to Baton Rouge to play Scotlandville.
10th meeting between Evangel and Curtis. Curtis has won 6 of the 9 previously. They've controlled the series most recently, but this is going to be close. 2 really good defensive football teams. It's all about which offense performs better than the other. Curtis is at home, perhaps a slight edge, especially playing on an unusual home field. I think you have to take that into consideration. Also, Brother Martin on the road at Scotlandville. Scotlandville's undefeated, and their quarterback is outstanding, and they've earned it. And they just show a lot of character coming from behind over and over and over again. But after watching Brother Martin play last week, if they play like that, they're not going to lose this game. I don't care what seed they are. They're really good.
We've seen it time and time again. In the short period of time that the Division I bracket has been in play, seeds don't mean a lot. You've seen some things happen in that regard where some of your lower seeds have jumped up, played well this time of year, and gone on to win. Division II, we mentioned just a moment ago, De La Salle, Parkview at the top half of the bracket, and then St. Thomas More and University on the bottom side. That's 2 really good matchups. And there's going to be 2 good teams playing in the Dome next Friday.
Well, starting at the bottom, St. Thomas More got there last year, lost a tough one to Parkview Baptist in the Dome. Jim Hightower, one of the winningest coaches in the history of Louisiana football, has never won the championship, and he's favored to get back there. He's at home against U-High. U-High's better than their record, as I said, but they're young. I like St. Thomas More at home. De La Salle, Parkview Baptist, great matchup. Of course, this is one that I know we're looking forward to, right?
Question about it. This is, 55 years since De La Salle has played for a state championship. That is what's at stake Friday night, and I know Cav Nation is incredibly excited about it.
Yeah, SportsNOLA.com is excited too. We're really looking forward to having that matchup, and look, it's going to be a terrific game. De La Salle's been building to this for several years, and they've gotten bigger and better up front, and that's what you have to be against Parkview Baptist. They are going to run right at you. Very physical football team. Played the toughest schedule in the state in this class. Really good win over Turley's Catholic last week, and boy, this is one of those testosterone games. I mean, they're going to run the ball, both of these teams, and the better team's going to win. De La Salle at home, I think they've been building for this, and as good as Parkview Baptist is, I'm going to give a slight edge to the Cavaliers, though this is a tough one.
Parkview, you mentioned the schedule. 4 losses, all to teams that are either unbeaten or number 1 seeds and heading into the playoffs. That gives you an idea of what they played against this year. As you look at Division III, more local interest there. Riverside, the number 1 seed at home against Catholic and New Iberia. Terrific matchup. St. Charles Catholic, the 3 seed, heads to Crowley to take on Notre Dame. Could we be in store for a rematch of what we saw a year ago in the Dome with Riverside and Notre Dame.
Well, I predicted it all along, and I think that that's going to be the case, although it's not going to be easy. Catholic of New Iberia is a really good football team. They can score. And they only lost to Notre Dame this year, so that tells you all about them and how good they are. And they took apart Newman, who had a great win over Dunham the previous week. And as for Notre Dame, they've got Frank Monica. St. Charles Catholic is an extremely well-coached football team, and to see them shut out Calvary Baptist was something to behold. Calvary Baptist is one of the best offenses in the class and really in the state in 2A, much less Division III. And to be shut out was shocking. That was quite a performance by Coach Monica's team, but boy, a tough road to hoe against Shelvin and company and Notre Dame. Louis Cook's a great coach, too. These are two of the great coaches in the history of Louisiana, but you got to like the Pios.
This could be another some way, shape, or form. I think we got a chance of seeing some sort of rematch next Friday, and then we get to Division IV, and Ascension Episcopal against Central Catholic, who's been kind of at least from a seed perspective, the Cinderella, the 12 seed, getting to the semifinals. Southern Lab against Cedar Creek. Do the home teams have a chance of losing here in Ascension and Southern Lab?
One does, yes. Ascension Episcopal is the top seed, and during the regular year, they beat Central Catholic 42-41. Central Catholic, as I told you going into the playoffs, is not only the Cinderella and the sleeper team, but the upset special team to get there, if not win it all. And I think they're going to pull the upset here and advance. I really do, even though they're on the road. Second time around, first time was a beast, and we'll see. It could go either way, though, and Ascension Episcopal is a real deal. They're very good. On the bottom half of the bracket, Cedar Creek with a road win over Covenant Christian. Just overmatched them. I call that upset, but Southern Lab's too good. The Kittens.
There you go. And it'll set the stage for a busy Friday, a week from Friday, December the 2nd, in the Dome, 4 state championship games on the select side. You still got one more week after that on the non-select side, the semifinals, before they get to the Dome December 9th and 10th. No better place to keep up with all of the action than right here at SportsNOLA.com. Your scoreboard presented by the All-State Sugar Bowl. Of course, if you're out at the games, bring your radio, listen to Ken and his original prep football report. He'll have reports from all of the games in between the action of John Arrett at Destrehan, and which should be a great 5A quarterfinal matchup. And once again, here at SportsNOLA.com, we will have a live stream of the Division II semifinal between De La Salle and Parkview Baptist live from Joe Yenny Stadium. Ken, have a great Friday. I know you're looking forward to it.
Indeed I am. Thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you this weekend.
And that is our special edition of the First NBC Bank video update. For Ken, I'm Lenny. See you at the games on Friday.